Hi, welcome to the G2 Gallery podcast. I'm Jared, and today we have one of our upcoming artists, Mark Hanauer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So I want to start off by asking you what you have at the gallery.
I will have a series of my botanical images, which are abstract images of mainly flowers and some leaves and some other things that grow.
What's your background that sort of led you to have this interest in photographing more shapes and organic forms?
I'm a commercial photographer. I've been shooting pictures since I was 16 years old. And the flowers came from a project that I did for one of your neighbors. I did a series of packages of fragrances for strange invisible perfumes. So I was hired to, among other things, photograph flowers for the packages. I had such a great time doing it that I went on my own to the Huntington Gardens and photographed flowers there. And I spent a day doing that. And it was interesting because when I got home and I looked at the images, I thought, well, these are really nice. These are really pretty. And then I put them away. They didn't really occur to me what they were until I taught a class one evening at UCLA, and I had a guest, a friend, speak in my class, David Strick, who's a wonderful photographer, and he was talking about reinvention as opposed to repackaging. And I was listening to him and realizing that all I had been doing in the last few years had been repackaging myself. And
can you talk a little bit about reinventing versus repackaging and what that means?
Well, for me, for a photographer, it means shooting new pictures, new kinds of pictures, which would be listed under reinvention, as opposed to repackaging, which is recropping images, making new kinds of portfolios, showing the same old things in a new way.
Yeah.
And I started feeling very anxious about this, and kind of flew home that night after class and pulled out those flowers and started making really big prints, and realized that this was an exciting reinvention for me.
Yeah. Because what were you doing before?
Well, I've always been photographing people mainly, and other things for myself. But this was the first concrete series of images that I did in the sense of a theme, which is something I've always wanted to do and never been successful at. So it was my first personal series of images that are a complete theme for me. And that really excited me because for me that was very new, and that was a reinvention.
What did you discover putting together a theme? What new thing?
Well, the theme itself was maybe it's equated to a novel as opposed to a short story or a paragraph.
Okay.
Where myself as a writer, I can write a decent paragraph, but to go any further than that, it's very difficult. And it's been the same thing with photography. I've always been good at shooting these 1, 2, 3 pictures, whether it's portraits of somebody, doing these little very, very short kind of stories, as opposed to this long, complete series.
Yeah.
And now the series is probably 45 images.
Right. Was it scary going into abstract?
Oh, not at all.
No.
No, it's exciting.
Why?
Well, it's what first drew me to photography when I was 16 years old, and I picked up a camera and had my first sense of excitement about photography. It was how you can take something which is we look at every day and make it interesting, and say, here, stop and look at this thing that we always look at. I used to photograph rocks. I used to photograph old houses, friends of mine, whatever. I was this kid, and it was all about discovery at that point. And it's still about discovery. So when I'm looking through the camera and I see a composition, I find a composition that I react in a very visceral way to it. All of the flowers that are going to be up here that are in my series, I've had that feeling with when I shot them, when I printed them.
Yeah.
That they appealed to me in a very unique, very interesting, very, very deep way.
Right. Can you see abstract work as a commentary on social issues, political issues, or anything like that?
Anybody that looks at something, let's say the same thing, is going to have a different interpretation of what it is. It's about it being evocative. It's about what an image evokes. And if it's abstract, you can't say, okay, well, that's a picture of a rose,
Right.
or that's a picture of a dog.
Right.
It's something else. So what does that evoke? It makes somebody work a little bit harder in their own interpretation of it. It's like poetry,
Right.
as opposed to a literal story.
Yeah.
With a poem, you have to read it, and you create your own understanding of it. There is no true understanding of any piece of abstract work, if it's writing
Yeah.
or visual
Yeah.
or anything.
Right.
You make it, and that's the beauty of abstract.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. This is Jared from the G2 Gallery. Please come in and see his work, and we'll be back with more podcasts for you. Thank you. All thoughts and opinions expressed in this interview were that of the interviewee and not of the G2 Gallery.